Your wife always used to say that you'd be late for your own funeral. I don't know if you can really remember that, but you were always late and always forgetting things, and that was even before the incident. I think the ironic thing is that maybe now you were wondering if you were late for hers. You were there, I mean, I can tell you that much, but I don't know if you were really there. I don't know if you remember. That's what pictures are for. If you ever see a picture of a man who's staring at a gravestone and holding some flowers, that's you. You're trying to remember whose funeral you're at. Earl opens his eyes to a stretch of white ceiling tiles. An alarm clock is ringing somewhere. Earl lies back and reads the sign taped to the ceiling. It says in crude block capitals, "This is your room. This is a room in a hospital, and this is where you live now." Earl looks around the room. It's bare. Institutional, maybe. And then he sees a black sheet divided into 4 quadrants. There's a picture of a brain in each one. Concentric lines, circles run all throughout it, but then, right in the center, he sees a picture of a man staring at a gravestone. He looks back at the MRI. Your brain, it's labeled. Who is this man? Anterograde amnesia is defined as the inability to form new memories after a certain point in a person's life. For some people, this arises naturally. However, for others, it comes about as a result of a traumatic event. After Earl's wife is murdered, he begins to forget everything about his life, and he relies on the help of one of his friends to bring him back to reality. Memento Mori by Jonathan Nolan. You can't really have a normal life anymore, Earl. I mean, think about it. How can you have a wife if you can't remember her name? You sure as hell can't have kids, because who wants to have a father who runs around not knowing what the children's faces look like? And let's be honest, you can't hold down a job because there aren't too many professions out there that value forgetfulness. I mean, prostitution and politics aside, but come on. I don't know if these people are going to let you go home. I mean, they can't let you go home. Whoever home might be, it's all because the last thing that you remember. It's one of the few memories that you have left. Earl's eyes are open now, in a room full of pitch black darkness. The alarm clock is ringing. Earl hits the lamp beside his bed and incandescent light fills the room. It's bare. Institutional. Earl gets up and crosses over to the desk. As he picks up a piece of notepaper, he looks up into the mirror and he sees a man staring back at him. He doesn't quite recognize the figure that stares back. He walks back over to his bed and lies back down and stares at the ceiling. There's another sign. It reads, "Get up. You are missing something. You have to remember." Earl closes his eyes. They tried to teach you to make these lists in grade school. Now, I don't know if you really remember that, but it was kind of like this sort of thing that they would teach you to sort of get you to organize yourself. A little did we know that that was sort of introducing us to our daily pantomime where we try to get our future selves to be better. Like, as if we've seen the light or something. I mean, your problem is kind of the same thing, but it's more acute. It's like you've seen the light, but you don't really get it. You see it, but you don't remember. So now you're just taking orders from somebody who you don't even know anymore. I guess somebody else has to remind you. He can hear the buzzing through his eyelids. Earl opens his eyes and sees a man bent over and drilling into his forearm with a tattoo gun. As it trails up his forearm, it leaves behind puffy letters, and blood seeps out of his arm and into the sheets below. He squirms. There's no movement. He looks up again, and the tattoo artist pauses to wipe Earl's forearm with a piece of gauze. As he walks away, Earl tries to read the sentence. He can only make out the word, remember. It's your birthday today. I bought you this little silver bell because I'm thinking that maybe every time you look at it, a little piece of your broken brain will start to remember something. And that every time you start to remember something, you can maybe make a step forward, you know? I mean, I know that this is all like a lot, I mean, with the notes and the tattoos and all these letters, and I just know that, you can get out of there, Earl. Something you remember. Something you already learned before. So, I mean, if you think about it, you'll know. Everyone else has to look at mirrors to know who they are. You're no different. You just have to remember, Earl. 8 a.m. Earl's eyes are wide open. He's surprised to see himself older now. As he stares into the mirror, he can see strips of hair peeling away from his face like solar flares. He sees a tattoo, an arrow on his wrist. He rolls up his sleeve to see what looks like a sentence drilled into his forearm. He stares at the words carved into his skin, but he can't focus on it. Tries again, but he can't remember. Eventually, Earl crosses over to the desk. He finds another piece of notepaper. He walks over and reads what it says. No expectations. That's honestly the only thing I can think of right now. Notes everywhere. Pictures of your MRI plastered all over the wall. No, obviously I'm not really sure anymore, but if I had to guess, I'd say that you're probably still in that same damn room. You're wondering why you look so much older? You've been in there a long time. 3 months. I don't know if that amount of time even means anything to you anymore, Earl. What happened, man? You know, they say that you stabbed your wife 7 times in the chest and that when you finally came to and realized what happened, you just forgot. What? No. Earl, that doesn't happen. You don't forget when you kill somebody, let alone your own loved one. I know you remember, Earl. I know you remember and that you're just choosing to forget. And now you're rotting in there and you're becoming dead. This is the last note that I'm going to leave. I just had to tell you all this. Because I'm the only one that cares. No one else is going to talk to you and nobody else wants to. I remember, Earl. I hope you do too. Goodbye. Earl's eyes are wide open now. He's staring out the window because something has occurred to him. As he was patting down his pockets, he found his small silver bell. As he stared at it, something stirred in the back of his mind. In a flash, Earl can see the knife going into the side of a person. He looks up and he sees the twisted and angry face of his own wife. As the red blurs his vision, Earl snaps back, staring at this bell, trying to remember something he forgot. Earl doesn't remember. He looks at his hand. he finds a little arrow going up his arm. As he rolls up his sleeve, he finds this sentence tattooed on his forearm. Remember, this is your life now. Earl lies back and looks up at the ceiling. Earl closes his eyes.